¿Estás? Sí. ¿Listos? Dos.
Hello, good morning. Are you there,
morning.
Monica? Hi, do you
Hi,
hear us?
Jonathan.
Oh, good morning. How are you, Monica? I'm here with Maria Fernanda Cepeda,
Hello,
who is the
Monica.
country director here working with us.
Nice to meet you. So,
I'm so impressed, Maria, by the work that Pro Familia is doing with the World Vasectomy Day. Congratulations on this launch.
thank you so much. We're super excited as well. Pro Familia has been a great ally this year, and we have done tremendous work in this country. Like, we're very, very excited and proud and ready to show the world what has been happening in our country this couple of months.
Yeah, I wanted to say, Monica, just to give the sense of numbers, because the numbers are not the only thing that matter, but it does give us an idea of how much attention and success there's been. I think we set out originally to try to do 1,000 vasectomies for the week, which was already ambitious, considering that when we started, we wanted to do 1,000 in the whole world. And we just heard this morning that they had already passed 1,300. Yesterday was a day off because of the strike, national strike, but they were going to pass 2,000 and 3,000. They're going to continue on to next week. And that's what's so exciting, is that the numbers that we generate turn into more numbers, because the men who get vasectomies are the ones most likely to go out and share it. And the men who get vasectomies on World Vasectomy Day are so infused with the positive messaging that it's not just like going to get a procedure normally. It's like you're part of a movement that sort of stands for something bigger.
Well, I want to thank you, Jonathan, for the movement building that you have done, from Indonesia and Kenya and Mexico and now Colombia. You have been a force really looking at exploring new opportunities for us to get the message out on the positive role that men can play in improving sexual and reproductive health and rights. So congratulations on that great news.
Well, thank you so much. You've been a big friend and ever since we met in North Carolina at a Switch Point conference. But your career has taken different twists and turns. Tell us a little bit about your present position, what you're doing, and what you're imagining. I know it's so recent that it's probably taking a lot in, but just kind of set the context of your own career trajectory.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just lost, unfortunately, the video, so I don't know if you can still see me. I am so excited. 3 weeks ago, I joined Planned Parenthood Global, and as you may know, for almost 50 years, Planned Parenthood Global has supported access to sexual and reproductive health care, and we advocate for the rights of women, men, and youth to have information and services and supplies no matter where they live, no matter who they are. And so I'm very excited to have joined this bold and visionary organization. And you may know it, and I know our colleagues at Pro Familia know that in partnership with more than 100 organizations, we work through our partners, and we advance the health and rights of the most vulnerable people. And it's really great. I really recently came back from the International Conference on Population and Development that was held in Nairobi. And obviously there's a big movement to ensure that men and boys are more actively participating in the sexual and reproductive health and rights movement. And that's why I'm so excited to join World Vasectomy Day today, to really talk with you about what that movement is and how best to support information, choice, access. I think lots of times we forget about the role of men and boys as we look at the future of our work and really creating dialogue and discourse and making sure that full participation and full choice by women, girls, men, boys, and families in generating this new movement.
You were talking about the fact that boys are, mostly the focus has been on women, and we support that. A big part of what we're trying to do is to get men to be better partners. It's not just about getting guys to do vasectomies, it's really for them to become better partners with women in a cause that really ultimately impacts both genders, and that to the extent that family planning is the responsibility of men and women, figuring out how to build that dialogue is a big part of what we're doing. So we need organizations like yours. Women need more support, not less support. And World Vasectomy Day is very much committed to figuring out a way to channel positive male energy to put it in support of women's causes and women's reproductive health, because ultimately women are still the ones who are going to be carrying the greater burden of pregnancy and still in most places of child rearing as well. What do you think about that, Maria?
Maria. No, I agree with you, and I'm very excited because what we saw this year working here in Colombia is that we all know at this point that we need men in the conversation, and men are wanting to be part of that conversation. So it's a matter of how to do the work and how to commit and how to do partnerships to engage men and more men into this conversation, not only as partners of women, but as subjects of rights and as those that need to take care of themselves as well. So I think we're in the right moment of history to make this call.
Could you just summarize very quickly? Time is of the essence, but you just came back from Nairobi. It was one of the largest gatherings in years, and I was just curious what the sort of the general message was that we can share and take with us on our own work.
Well, thanks, Jonathan. Actually, ICPD Quest 25 was a landmark meeting, as was the landmark meeting in Cairo, and Cairo changed the agenda for all of us. It really put women and girls and at the center of reproductive health and rights and development. And I think at the Cairo meeting, there was at the Nairobi meeting, there was a real recognition that we need to continue to expand our tent and focus more on youth and men and boys to bring them into the conversation. We still need to invest in women and girls because they have the burden of pregnancy, they have the burden of HIV, they have a huge burden, and continue to empower them. But I think there is much more of a recognition now that we need to continue to identify ways to bring in men and youth and boys into the program. And one of the things that I want to just highlight is some of the young people that I met there were really talking about how they want to be more engaged in our programs. And I think one of the things that Pro Familia has always done, and certainly that PT Global has done, is really work with youth peer providers to get information to both girls and boys regarding their sexuality, regarding their choices. And I think there's one thing I'd like to, for you all to be talking about for the rest of the day too, is how do we engage youth in both the design of our programs, make them full participants in our programs, because I think that they deserve better than what we've been giving them. And many of the countries are talking about comprehensive sexuality education. There was a pushback by more conservative governments. But how do we, allow our young people to have access, both, girls and boys, to all of the information that they need to make the right choices? And I'd love to hear from Maria about some of the challenges that you face and some of the opportunities of creating this movement with young people to make sure that we're not leaving them behind.
Yes, definitely. That is another one of the learnings that we had in this process of going around the country and speaking with different people in 8 cities. And one of the things was, it was very nice seeing young people wanting to engage with us in the streets and wanting to have a conversation about sexual and reproductive health. I think it was because we, from the World Vasectomy Day, are constantly trying to innovate in language and the way we communicate with people, and especially with young people. We know from a social change perspective and behavioral change perspective that communication is key, and that we need to also transform the institutional messages into more day-to-day conversations and into technology and communications. So these messages are all interesting, appealing, and fun to have, because this is how people learn from. Like, people learn more if we're playing, if we're using gaming, if we're using other techniques virtual reality. We had a virtual reality clinic for vasectomies, and it was a success. And we had, as a matter of fact, kids and teenagers and a lot of young people wanting to know and to learn because it was fun as well. So I think that's one of the challenges, is how do we translate these important messages into a fun way of learning. What do you think?
Go on, Monica. I know you got a lot of thoughts.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, I totally agree with Maria, and I've really enjoyed the power of young people and amplifying their voices and their ideas. And I know you'll be talking to our colleague Teresa from Semoplaf. But please ask her about our youth peer provider platform that they've helped to create and develop. And it's so exciting to see youth take what I would call the issues and break them down into their language and their words and use it in new ways. And that's why I think we all have to invest in more co-creation and design with youth. These programs have to be designed by them, owned by them, and implemented by them, and to be honest, evaluated by them to really, I think, make a difference in their lives. But I'm super excited.
I'm sorry, go on. I think one of the things that we've really learned is how to get people who are acceptors of family planning, to be champions. That we are a community, that we don't just, it's not just about what's right for yourself. It's about how what you choose to do can impact other people, and how what you've learned you can share with others. And one of the best things with World Vasectomy Day has been the community of people working together. That we make these differences together, that it's not just something alone that you do for your body, but it's something that you do for others as well. And by making it communal and collective, it becomes not only powerful, I think it becomes more appealing. And that's one of the things that we've been discovering and that's what's made it, I think, so contagious. And getting young people involved is critical, because it's not really, we always say vasectomy is just the hook. It's just because it's provocative and because it's a little, difficult to discuss. That actually works to an advantage. And we don't, we're getting teenagers involved. They're not getting a vasectomy. What they're doing is getting the conversation going and making something relevant, so that they're already thinking, like they said, planning 20, 10, 15 years ahead of time. And that's what's made it, I think that's a big part of why it's been so successful, Monica.
I think so too, and what I love about the work that you're doing is that sparking conversations with men and boys and women and men and their partners, and I think it's those positive conversations, breaking the ice, and really delving into the issues regarding sexuality. I think one of the greatest things about your program is getting, and Maria said that, is innovating using social media, innovating using young people, innovating. I remember certainly some of the work that you've done in Kenya too. You've left people with better information and I think a more positive way to engage in the issue related to how to prevent unintended pregnancies, how to prevent HIV, but also how do we each be empowered as positive role models in our relationships with our partners and our friends, to bring it all on and to make a difference.
I know that you were mentioning partners and how you're working all over the world in so many different programs, and we just sort of chanced upon one of your partners in Ecuador, and we invited them to come this week to participate, but the leader of that is Teresa. She's a fantastic leader. She's based in Quito, and this whole week doctors have been in Ecuador, training doctors in Ecuador to start a program with the Ministry of Health as well as with Semoplaf. And I know you mentioned your Spanish wasn't quite as perfect, but we are very honored. We were going to bring her here anyhow. So let's just connect with Teresa from Semoplaf, and we're going to continue the conversation on ourselves, but. Monica, thank you so much for everything you've been done for World Vasectomy Day. Honestly, for those who don't know, there would not be World Vasectomy Day here, because if it weren't for Monica, because she actually introduced me to our major partners on the project, DKT, FP 2020, and has really been a kind of a sponsor who sort of spoke for us when there was nobody in the institutional world who really believed in what we were doing. So thank you always.
Thank
It's
you
huge,
so
huge
much,
appreciation.
Monica. Yes,
And now we just want to say very clearly, we're going to be in DC in mid-December. We want to sit down with you and your partners who are working in Latin America and talk about how we can expand our work together, because what we are learning and what we have accomplished is something that's going to be multiplied that much more if we can do it together. So thank you so much, Monica.
That's
Thank you
beautiful.
so
Thank
much,
you,
Monica.
Thank you. Looking forward to hearing from Teresa. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.